So when choosing a portrait, I would go for a sort of slightly turned view, not head-on or profile. The first thing I would do then is on the picture I was copying, I would just draw two reference lines, a vertical, I'm just going through the kind of the bridge of the nose area, and a horizontal. And you use these to measure off. I tend to go through the eyes with the horizontal line. Now those two lines are going to be very, very important when you're taking measurements from the picture. So if I want to sort of work out how far up the head are, I'd take my pencil and I would measure from the chin to my line, and then from the line to the hairline. And you can see from the top of the head to the chin, the eye line is halfway up. And there are formulas for this. The base of the nose is about halfway between the chin and the eyes. And if you take that distance, then the mouth is about 1/3 of the way up from the chin. Obviously there's always slight variation, but there's a good rule of thumb to help you with proportion. And then when you're trying to measure the widths, you can see that the width here to the center of the face is much less than the width all the way across here. And as I start drawing, I'll constantly be measuring with my pencil as a guide to get the proportions right. Now that's very important, to measure, measure, measure. Okay, so now I'm ready to begin. So I'm going to keep my reference picture slightly below my picture, and then maybe move my camera forward a bit so that you can kind of sort of see both. But what I do, let's just concentrate on the drawing then, is I would actually put in my reference lines on my page as well, so that I can then use those when I'm measuring off. So my vertical line and my horizontal line. Now, what I tend to do at the beginning is, with very, very faint pencil line, just kind of get the sort of shape of the head. So it kind of comes around here like this, and then kind of down here, and then it kind of goes in a bit where the eyes are, cheek, and then down, and then the chin, and it comes under here. Okay, and I include the hair in this because the hair is important in giving the shape of the head. So that's kind of my shape, the shape of my head. Okay, now that line is very, very faint, and you're going to go over that line many, many times as you begin to kind of find exactly where things are. So I can now check my measurements. I can say, right, from the chin to the eye line should be the same as from the eye line to the top of the head. So that's kind of the top of the head. So that's okay. And then obviously there's some hair up there. And then we come down. And then we come to the sort of the eyebrow area, and then we come back out again, and then down towards the chin. Okay, and then I can sort of begin to now position some of the features. So if I go back to my drawing, I can measure, let's say, from the width of the two eyes, that distance there is it's about from the sort of the bridge of the nose to the hairline, so that distance there is the kind of the width of the two eyes. Okay, so I reckon that's the sort of the two eyes there. So I can now start to kind of position very, very, very faint lines. Position my eyes in. Okay. Something like that. I'm probably putting. You don't want to get dark with these lines. Very, very faint lines. Just kind of positioning the eyes, getting the features in the right sort of place. The nose. Now, what's the angle of the nose? So, often using your pencil like this to help you get the angle. So that's the kind of the angle of the nose. It's sort of like that. How far does the nose come down? Well, the nose is about halfway between the chin, the base of the nose, and the eye line. So I'm sort of saying, right, well, is that halfway? That's about halfway there. Getting the length of the nose, often quite tricky to get the length of the nose. But that's about right. That's a sort of where the nose will kind of finish. And then the mouth, again, the mouth. So about 2/3 of the way up from the chin. So about 2/3 of the way up, so about there. And again, very, very faint lines, just positioning the features. Sort of first run through to position the features. You're going to have to rub a lot of lines out maybe at the end if you want to. Sometimes it's nice to keep the lines, but that's why it's so important to keep them very, very faint. And you'll be pushing the features around quite a bit, correcting and correcting. So I'm already getting a bit dark there. Eyebrow coming up sort of like that. We don't try and draw every single hair in the eyebrow, just a kind of a smudge to show where the eyebrow goes. Something like that. Just often I just mark where the pupil of the eye is going to go. And I've got my reference line here, which I've drawn on, and that pupil is slightly above the line. And I could also measure now how far from my reference line is that pupil. It's difficult. So that looks about right for now. This pupil here is actually on the line, so it's slightly lower. And it's about kind of like that. Okay. It's important when you're selecting a picture, you've got good contrast between the lighter areas and the darker areas. That really helps to form the shape of the face. So, yeah, I'm feeling reasonably happy with that. Doing a little bit without filming, making some of the darker tones darker, and positioning things so that I'm happy with them. Doing some checking, some measuring and checking to making sure that the distances on the picture match the distances on my sketch. Also beginning to kind of firm up the shape of the face, the hair. It all helps you to sort of check and confirm things are in the right place. The chin down here, and then the hair on this side. Now that we've got the left-hand side of the eye and the eyebrow more or less in the right place, we can see how the hair sweeps around from the forehead and then over the eyebrow and then down in this sort of direction. Again, faint lines, because you're going to want to correct these later, but it just helps you to check the shape of the face. Have you got a likeness you're happy with? And when you're practicing, it doesn't have to look exactly like the person. If it looks like a face, then that's good enough at this stage. Okay, as you improve, it will begin to look more and more like the person you're drawing. What I will often do at this stage is I'll do a little bit of smudging, gentle smudging, and that just fills in the areas of tone. And where you're don't press too hard or you'll kind of make the paper shine, but where then you want to bring out the light again, so just to bring out the shape of the chin where it's lighter at the top of the chin, you then use your putty rubber and take off in the right places. You can dab with the putty rubber, or by shaping it you can be much more precise. So there's a white line at the top of the lips, so I can now, by making a sharp edge to the putty rubber, I can sort of put a white line there. Also down the nose like that, and across the top of the nostril, in the corner of the eye. I've done that once before, but you have to go back and do it again. Okay, and then again back with the pencil, and so on. Using the side of the pencil to fill out larger areas of shadow. And then it's getting the graduations, so making the darks dark and the lights light, and making sure the shadows are in the right place, because that will then give the right shape to the face. Come up a bit, see if we can get the eye in, the eyes. And now where it's finer detail, I've moved to the point of the pencil rather than the side of the pencil. And again, still very light lines here, that might not be quite the right position. So, and then the lower eyelid. And actually then it's darker here. I think what I'll do is I'll just do the rest with a series of pictures to show the progression. I've shown you all the techniques really.